Welcome back. It's a nice shade of green across most of the Asian markets. In fact, some of them are doing, quite well. Japan is up 1%. Hong Kong's been up about 1.5%. Yeah. Mainland China also in fine form this morning, so looking good. Let's pull up the implied open. Remember, the Nifty is just 116 points away, specifically 116 points away from getting back right at the top of the trading range. And it's a trading range we've been in for a good 15, 16 trading sessions. So it's bulls in control and a gap-up opening expected. Now, what about individual stocks? There's been a fair bit of news flow since the markets shut on Friday, so let's go over this with our team. Here's the CNBC TV 18 list of top stocks to watch. Hi, guys. Good Monday morning to all of you. Let's start with Suzlon. Vivek, we're expecting promoters to sell some equity in the market today, is it?
Well, that's right. So our colleague Ruchit managed to access the term sheet for this particular block deal that's expected to happen in today's trading session. So, the promoters, Tanti family as well as trust, are looking to sell close to 20 crore shares, implying that close to 1.5% of equity is expected to change hands. The floor price for this particular block deal is at 64.75 rupees a share, indicating a close to 3% discount to the last traded price. So the estimated size of this particular block deal at that price would be close to 1,300 crore rupees. Lock-in of close to 6 months for this particular block. We are going with the red, but if this particular deal does happen in the block deal window, expect a bit of recovery to kick in as far as Suzlon is concerned.
Got it. Thanks a lot for that, Vivek. Let's hop across to Manglam. He's here to tell us about Asian Paints. Manglam, the color's red?
The color is mild red, and the reason for that is that Birla Opus has gone ahead and filed a complaint against Asian Paints at the Competition Commission of India, and they are alleging abuse of dominance by the industry leader, that is Asian Paints. They're saying that Asian Paints allegedly threatened dealers to stop dealing with Grasim India, the owner of Birla Opus. This complaint was filed way back in November 2024, and the CCI is likely to pass an order for abuse probe soon. What Opus has claimed is Asian Paints has threatened to reduce credit limits, denying contracts for dealers if they worked with Grasim Industries. Two parts here. One is that this in the past has happened for Asian Paints, where a lot of companies down south, in particular Indigo, etc., have gone to the Competition Commission. Not much in terms of business impact took place out there. The second thing is the first time that Birla and Asian Paints are coming together at the Competition Commission level to allege abuse by the leader. So that's something we'll have to watch out for. Most importantly, what is it that the CCI says is something we'll be watching out for, along with the fact that what Asian Paints has to say on this as well, because they too haven't made a comment on this one yet.
All right, Mangalam, thanks very much for that. Coming back to you for more, but let's talk about why cement stocks should be in focus today. Najul, take us through that.
Well, the West Bengal legislature, they have revoked the incentive schemes and obligations in April 2025 itself. What does the Act state? Well, the Act retrospectively annuls all the grants that were sanctioned under various state incentive schemes there in West Bengal. Now the companies have received formal notification over the last few days. The companies, in their response, they are saying they're examining the Revocation Act and they're considering all legal options, including challenging the legal validity itself. Now, the total incentive receivables from the West Bengal government per company is approximately 200 to around 300 crores, as the chart should come up for you with those outstanding, incentives. INCRED also says that the revocation can impact Star's profitability by around 4 to around 5%. I've been speaking to industry experts and various sources and companies as well. Some of them were not expecting this money to come, so they were not factoring it in. If it did come, it would be a positive. For the time being, a negative read-through. I think more than the companies, it will impact investments in West Bengal itself, because you put out some kind of incentive and they're not going to be giving it to them. I think for future, we'll have to track that. But we'll have an analyst who will be joining in, in a short while from now. We'll have Rajesh Ravi of HDFC Securities who will be joining in to discuss the impact of these companies and whether he'll be willing to look through the knee-jerk reaction that we're likely to see in the first couple of minutes.
Okay, important development there. The state government basically taking away incentives that were earlier promised to the companies. We'll go back and revisit the story in more detail in just a bit. For now, let's head across to Vamakshi, who's watching out for MCX. I think they've got an approval to launch another product. Vamakshi, tell us more.
Well, absolutely, Surabhi. Good morning to you. MCX is expected to open higher today, and that is because they've gone ahead and gotten a nod from the SEBI to launch their derivatives products for the electricity segment. This, in turn, will enable, sort of generators, distribution companies, and large consumers to hedge price volatility and manage price risk more effectively. Keep in mind that NSE a month ago had gotten SEBI's nod to launch electricity derivatives. This is positive for MCX. Why? Because this launch was much awaited. In fact, in the Q4 con call, they said that they were actively working on introducing these electricity derivatives. With the SEBI's permission now, in the company's favor, this does bode well on that front. It also will enable the company to diversify their offerings as well as capture a new segment of the market. Keep in mind that globally, the power derivatives market is quite huge, so this spells out a huge opportunity for MCX. So given that development, going with the green for this counter.
All right, going with the green on MCX. I'll also keep an eye on IEX because they have an agreement with MCX for its underlying prices. So maybe some kind of a positive read-through for IEX as well. That said, let's hop across to Sudarshan. He's focusing on MGL. They had that investor meet. Sudarshan, tell us more.
That's correct. So company had held investor and the analyst meet on June 6th, and the commentary coming out of that meet is looking largely positive. Company saying that it will focus more on volume than margin over the next 2 to 3 years. Company is targeting volume growth of more than 10%, and that is despite the high base of FY25. And that is likely to be achieved by the expansion of CNG infra and the targeted intervention in the industrial segment as well. Also, company is looking at the inorganic growth via M&A opportunities. Now, what do brokerages feel? Citi has a buy call and target is to pay 1700 per share. It's saying that despite high FY25 base, company is targeting 10% volume CAGR over 2 to 3 years, and this 55% share of oil-linked gas should provide comfort to company in achieving the EBITDA margin guidance that it has given. JP Morgan, though, has a neutral call and target is 1360. It says company is making specific efforts to drive volumes even at the cost of margins, and margin can be under pressure on higher gas costs. Nuvama has a reduced call and target is 1224. It says sourcing mix of gas to worsen with new well gas share to rise on reclassification of APM. So it's a mixed view coming out from brokerages.
All right, Sudarshan, got it. Thanks very much for that. So Mahanagar Gas on our radar. Back to Vivek then. Afcons Infra and RailTel. I think these companies have won some orders. Vivek, tell us more.
That's right. Some order wins here for both of these companies. Afcons Infra is the first one in focus. The company has received an order for construction work of vinyl projects of Reliance Industries, and this will be done in Dahej in Gujarat. The scope of work mainly includes civil, mechanical as well as other associated works. The size of the order is close to 700 crores. Remember, at the end of FY25, the order book stood at close to 37,000 crore. The other stock in focus is RailTel. Again, an order win over here. The company has received an order from Bihar Education Product, where the company is expected to supply students' kits. The total value of the order is in excess of 240 crore. Remember, at the end of FY25, the order book stood in excess of 6,600 crore, going with a mild green for both of these names.
Okay, got it, Vivek. Thank you very much for that. Let's quickly recap our list of stocks to watch then. The ones that have positive news flow this morning are MCX, Mahanagar Gas, Afcons Infra and RailTel. That's just 4. And there's a long list of stocks with the negative news flow around them. That would include Suzlon Energy, Asian Paints, Dalmia Bharat, Birla Corp, Nuvoco, Vistas and Star Cement. All the cement stocks because of unfavorable regulatory developments in West Bengal. Okay, so that's the stock list of the morning. Let's talk commodities now. We have Manisha joining in with a roundup of all the action. Manisha, morning, this surge in crude oil prices, that was making us sit up and take notice. You tell us what's the latest?
Well, yes, we had 4% of gains in the previous week, and there's optimism over China and U.S. conversation. Canada also has entered direct tariff talks with U.S., so that is really supportive. And then there is also potential for increased U.S. sanctions on Venezuela. So there are near-term supply disruptions and expectations that these tariff agreements, perhaps as they happen, will lead back to the global demand growing, is what is supporting the crude oil prices. Within the metal space, the only thing that has seen a decline is the gold price. It fell 1% on Friday and seems to be trading around those lower levels even right now. The stronger than expected U.S. jobs data with U.S. non-farm payrolls beating a forecast with 139,000 gains in the month of May is weighing onto the gold prices, but not on the other metals because copper is trading in the positive. We saw 5% of gains in the previous week. Palladium is trading at a 17-week highs, platinum at a 13-month highs. So the younger or the lower lot in sense of precious metals and base metal seems to be doing well, not so much for gold right now.
All right, thanks a lot for that, Manisha. We'll keep an eye out on all of those cues. For the time being, though, we'll take a short break. You come back, we'll be joined by Rajesh Ravi of HDFC Securities to talk about what's going on in the cement space post those regulatory changes. Also post that, we have Amnish Agarwal of PL Capital who'll be joining in to help us out with some more fundamental analysis. Don't go anywhere.